November 19, 1941. Generalmajor Albert Hartmann, 1. Marinedivision, Le Havre. Men, as I stand before you here, we are about to make history. In just a few months, the army has taken France. But who unblocked them by crossing the river at Besançon? Marines! Now, we are about to do something no German has done, set foot on English soil. Our Dutch brothers have rushed ahead and are attacking Dover as a diversion. Our brothers from the 201st will reinforce the beachhead east of Portsmouth. It falls to us to assault the port directly. We control the air and the seas, but don't let your guard down. We'll drop the barges at first light tomorrow. You are to secure the port facilities, then push further into the city, secure the barracks, clear any kind of barricades they have put up, and raise the imperial flag over Portsmouth City Hall. I need 2nd Battalion to clear the docks of any civilian shipping and goods, because we'll need the space for the 2nd Panzers to unload. Be courteous towards civilians, but if anyone resists, don't hesitate. We don't know what kind of fanatic the syndicalist indoctrination has turned the population into. First at sea, Marines! First to land, Marines!
Eine weite Hand, leb wohl, mein Schatz, leb wohl, mein Schatz, leb wohl, lebe wohl, wenn wir fahren, wenn wir fahren, wenn wir fahren, gegen England, England.
So yeah, the Dutch have actually launched their assault, and the Dutch Marines are running ahead. Obviously they have brought a bicycle division, because they are the Dutch after all, and they are assaulting Dover at this point, and they'll be launching an assault from the sea and from land. So we will be sending the Marines over. The German Air Force is covering the area. We have 2 bomber wings that we will use for ground support operations, and we can bring some close air support once we have captured an airport. The 1st Schlachtgeschwader is ready to repel any kind of opposition. And the Marines are ready to launch. So go, Operation Sealion. And there they go. So the assault on, obviously the Marines will land on the beaches east of Portsmouth to reinforce the Dutch. They are struggling against the defenders in Dover. It looks like the invasion from sea has failed, and the Marines on land seem to be struggling as well. Nationalist indoctrination has completed just as we are assaulting Portsmouth, and the British are very quickly bringing divisions over from the north, by the looks of it, to repel the invasion. But they thought it was only the Dutch, and it looks like the garrison in Dover has more or less defeated, despite the fact that the bombers have joined, has more or less defeated the Dutch incursion. But fear not, you were just the vanguard. The German Marines are following behind you. However, so with nationalist indoctrination complete, that was this one. So the German soldier must believe in the empire, the Kaiser and the regime, and understand that he is fighting to save the race from extinction. Yeah, about that. Certainly a particular shift in tone, in line with the more right-wing orientation that the administration under von Schleicher has turned into. All right, where are we going to go next? We could. This is just conversion. Let's see if there's anything interesting here still. 5% dockyard output. That'd be nice. We don't need service by requirement. We could get another operative slot, which would also be kind of neat. But I think there are a couple of good things. This is recruitable population factor, and we can eventually do the national revolution, which would give us Carl Schmidt, who is not really someone I would be interested in to get at this point. but it leads to the Reichslandlösung, which is going to give us 10% resources and 10% manpower. So definitely worth doing. And there are more general division buffs in this tree as well. So I think we can at this point just continue down and complete these focuses here. So let's begin by a military oversight of state governments, and that will be the completion of von Schleicher's vision. But yeah, the Marines are about to land in Portsmouth against very little resistance. The Dutch have isolated Dover, and the 2nd Dutch Marine Division is pushing north towards London. London has been rapidly reinforced, but I think the British have lost the momentum here very quickly. Okay, submarine snorkels, and I think we have a lot of research that needs to be done here. Yeah, let's get the improved light battery to work, and we're going to be using the Germania Werft. Someone remind me that we need to upgrade our submarines. I just don't want to. Let's establish Portsmouth and then we'll do that. Okay, so German troops are landing. British troops are dispersing out of London, actually. And the 949th, 50th, 51st, and 52nd have landed east of Portsmouth. So we will immediately send. Portsmouth doesn't seem to be defended, so we'll send one division north towards Oxford, and then we'll just try to secure the area as much as possible. While I think the rest of the troops can take Portsmouth without trouble, but we'll leave one division behind just in case we need to. Deal with it, with any kind of reinforcements. Okay, 227th has landed, and we've got the 1st Marines who have been driven off course a little bit and have landed east of Portsmouth. So that means Dover is isolated. Portsmouth has been taken. The Dutch have been saved. And we will see, which means the 2 Marine divisions out of Portsmouth can push north. We have secured the port facilities. The tanks can follow suit. And I think we'll just secure Dover from here on out, while the Dutch are pushing north towards London. Although I do not wish for the Dutch to beat me to London, honestly. We'll let the Dutch deal with Dover, to be honest. Let's make sure that we are moving north and we are spreading out. Across the lines here. There is a somewhat fierce air battle going on, but the British really don't have anything left at this point. So really not an awful lot that they can do. And Portsmouth has been secured. We're pushing north towards Bristol. We don't want to overstretch the Marines, but we'll take as much territory as we can. The first British counterattack from Bristol is launching, so let's isolate Plymouth, and we are potentially going to be able to. It looks like London is mostly undefended, so let's push on while the British are surprised. There is an air defense position in Oxford and an airport, so let's secure Oxford, and we will send the we have available. The 16th Königlich Bayerische will move on London, and we will see if London has any defense at this point, and we'll send the 1st and 201st in as well. It looks like the British have abandoned London, and the Dutch have left the defenders of Dover to their own devices, but London has fallen, and reports from London confirm that the capital of the Union of Britain has been captured by advancing German troops after long pitched battles across the Thames River. So we've mostly just encountered civil resistance rather than organized British forces. British forces put up stiff resistance, hoping to delay the German forces for as long as possible, but were eventually beaten back. No organized divisions, just more like civil defense. For the first time since 1216, London has fallen to a foreign invader. The atmosphere in the city is heavy, with gunfire still ringing out in the night as the British forces retreat, leaving protesters and German military police fighting in the streets. This is the beginning of the end for the British, for sure. We have 8 Marine divisions here now, so I think we have secured Portsmouth. I'm probably going to divert the 201st to hold against Dover, and we've got the 16th that can move in as well. We'll do need to deal with the position in Dover, but at this point we can send the 3rd Army in potentially, or we can send in the tanks, or both. The British do have a fair amount of divisions. I don't know exactly where they've positioned them. They do have somewhere around 60 divisions, so there should be 3 field armies out here somewhere. They're clearly not organized very well, however. So anyway, we're not going to take any risks. So we are going to send von Kluge's 2nd Army over first, and they will be positioned to start assaulting. So we'll send them over first, and then once we've cleared the south coast further, we will send the Model's 3rd Army's assault divisions over as well, just to make sure that we have enough firepower to deal with any kind of British resistance. But so far we are not seeing any organized British resistance. Just a few guard divisions here. I'm not entirely certain where exactly they have positioned all these divisions, but it could be that they're all somewhere in St. Helena, but that'd be surprising. So unless they are fighting for the International somewhere else, and I don't think the 3rd International still has much. They could be in Iceland, or they could be in Central America. It could be that a lot of the British are fighting in Central America and the home islands are relatively weakly defended, or that they are fighting in India. But well, we will see. We will see how this all turns out. However, for now, we are launching some air attacks on. What are these? Some remaining destroyers, British destroyers operating in the area, but nothing that could threaten the invasion forces here. Under the cover of very adverse weather, our team found the previously scouted trail and proceeded across the border without further problems. The team planted the explosives successfully and brought down the building. Damage to the machine tools is reportedly light, but it still takes a lot of time to rebuild. The small courier plane managed to find the pickup point with little issue and delivered the team safely back to our lines. So we have blown up a Russian production factory that has completed this mission, and that means we've got a couple of agents now ready to do other things. Let's see, how's the resistance overall developing? Certainly spreading in northern France, so we do have to make sure that we can probably send additional agents to suppress the French resistance. Actually, we already have Agent Polyakov there, so it's not going to make a huge impact to have a 2nd agent in the area. Anywhere else where the resistance targets in the south are reasonably high as well. So I'll probably send a 3rd agent into the south just to prevent a further spread of resistance. And the rest of them is busy. We've got Willy Braun and we've got Simone Leboeuf operating still in Dover, which is about to fall, so no big deal. But first of all, just let's not forget, we are actually pretty good on fuel. I think I can dial down the oil imports a little bit, just to make sure we're not over provisioning on fuel here. All right, London has fallen. British resistance is almost non-existent, so I'd say we'll push further ahead then. Marines are pushing towards Oxford, and we are securing the south here. So the 952nd can already push towards Plymouth and take the British radar station on the ground. We'll counterattack into Bristol, given that the British division has been exhausted in its attempt to push us back towards Portsmouth. and the Dutch are landing more troops at this point, but it looks like the British defense really is much weaker than anticipated. So it might be sufficient to send the might be sufficient just to send the tanks over, honestly, and we're not going to need the assault divisions after all. Okay, so we're securing Bristol. We will push north while the British are exhausted towards Birmingham. Where has the capital moved? Capital has been moved to Liverpool. There are British tank divisions in the north, so we do have to be careful not to overstretch ourselves here. But we can probably isolate the whole eastern flank as well. So yeah, the Marines are pushing on, and the Dutch are joining as well. So we'll move further north as we can. Bristol is now starting to see some counterattacks, but okay. The British have landed 4 divisions in Dover for an attempt at breakout. So I think that's where we are going to send that's where we're going to be sending the tank divisions first. And the British still plan a naval invasion of Ireland. I think that is ambitious at this point. All right, let's do the submarine just so I don't forget it. Okay, Type 9A. Type 9A, the Type 9s currently have radar, which helps them with surface detection. So we could potentially replace that with a snorkel. But the impact of that would be decreased subvisibility, obviously, but also decreased surface detection. So for operations in contested waters, that might not be a bad thing. So I think having that design is, or we'll save it as new, and that is going to be the Type 10. Can we do any other modifications here? This would just be mining. Yeah, we don't need mining operations here. So that would be the Type 10 submarine. That would be a submarine better suited towards operating in contested areas due to reduced subvisibility. Because of the snorkel, they don't have to surface as much. So that is and of course that has decommissioned the Type 9A, which is not what we wanted. So that's that. We'll see. We'll have the design around if we need it. All right, let's get back. Let's have a quick look at the China situation before we get back to Britain. Japan has large concentrations here, and Seoul obviously is the next point of contention. The biggest problem is that we don't have supply because we can't effectively get the supply from the north to flow where we need it to go. We could, these are 13 Japanese divisions, but they are relatively poorly supplied. So we could potentially try to launch an all-out assault with the assault divisions leading the charge on these Japanese divisions in the hills in the north, and see if we can, this is going to be a tough fight, however, see if we can push them out. The Japanese are bringing fighters and are friendly, we do have fighters of our own here, so that should be fine. And we've got 4 tactical bomber wings operating from the area. We can bring additional fighters if necessary, but we might actually need some. Okay, let's leave the Korea situation for now and focus on Britain, because I think events are moving very quickly here. All right, the 6th Marines. So the 952nd Marines have made it up to Plymouth, and we are still waiting for the Panzer divisions to land, and then we are getting additional divisions on the lines here. We're waiting for the Panzers to land. Ports are a little bit clogged, but we do need to make sure that they don't retake London. So let's already push towards Cambridge. And they have briefly retaken London due to overall confusion, but we'll just counterattack immediately, and we'll wait to get the tank divisions on land. Tank divisions have landed, so we're going to have to organize the front lines, and the British are now trying to break out from Dover after retaking London. So the Marines, the initial lines of the Marines are getting a little stretched here, and but now that the reinforcements are here, that should not be a huge issue. Additional Dutch troops are queuing up as well and working towards the defense here. So let's retake Dover. We sent the tank divisions over to retake Dover, just to make sure that the Dutch are not left to their own devices over there. After the brief move back into London, the 201st is pushing the defenders out again from London. We'll send the mobile units to the north to start securing the lines. We have taken Cambridge, but we are getting counterattacked from the east. We'll isolate the defenders there in London. Now, London has already fallen, so let's make sure that we isolate we have isolated the east coast pretty much completely. Tank divisions are ready for a push into Dover and make a very rapid end to the British. And that was it. 4 British divisions have fallen in Dover, which means the tanks can now pivot. I think we only have 2 infantry divisions in the east, so I think the tanks can start moving across the central area. So let's get the Panzer divisions lined up, and their task will literally be to just swoop through England and finish things off there. We have some Marine divisions stationed. Front lines are a bit fluent, but we'll take Norwich and Ipswich, and we are already pushing out from London. Marines still leading the charge, despite the fact that they are supposed to be just landing, but things are taking their own momentum. We have retaken Dover. The Dutch have handed over control to Marine divisions near Plymouth. They can take Plymouth, and we will send two. We've got 2 dive bomber groups. They will be sent now that the airport is secured to the north and assist with close air support operations. That's that position taken. Next, Ipswich. We're just pushing at this point. We're just pushing the defeated and exhausted British divisions ahead of us. The 949th Infantry is already about to take Norwich. Ipswich has fallen, and that leaves the defenders here completely isolated. So we'll take them under immediate assault. We'll see if they can still manage to make it out the port, but I doubt it. Plymouth is falling, and Panzer divisions are ready to push towards Birmingham and into the north. We're starting to see a bit larger number of British troops, but there's no organization to them. So we will use the tanks to push any kind of infantry out of any attempts to dig in, whereas the other mobile divisions can exploit the breaches in the flanks and just keep moving where there is no opposition, while the tanks with air support are moving through. And it looks like Birmingham is potentially open. We're pushing with fast moving infantry through the open countryside. 3 tank divisions are assaulting the British defenders west of Birmingham, but they don't really stand a chance. Just checking the air zones. We're still in the southern England air zone, but we can now start. I think the channel is there's still some bombers up in the channel, but let's have a quick look. A few fighters only up in the east, so we can start moving the heavy fighter wings north towards the East Anglian Air Base, and already make sure that northern England is clear from the air. And counterattack out of Leicester. The tanks are joining the push now towards Hull, and I think that is going to be a rather rapid end. Cardiff seems to have been abandoned, so we'll send the Marines over to Cardiff. Tanks have pushed north almost up to Liverpool, to the new capital, and I think we'll just keep going. They're not defending the river crossings here, so we'll try to cut them off at Wrexham, while the tanks are pushing into the open territory and just cutting through the British lines everywhere. And that looks like the whole of the east has been more or less abandoned. The defenders from Plymouth have fallen back, so at this point we're just going to be taking the territory. More open territory in the hills, and we'll start already moving north towards. Liverpool has been isolated. Wrexham has fallen. Tanks have taken the position. And the 6th Panzer is going to, even though that is actually a less than effective use of the tanks, we are going to launch an assault on Nottingham. The Marines lead the charge across the river, fire support from the tanks, and we are just going to use the 5th Panzer to clear out that encircled British division here. And there is an encircled British division that hasn't gotten out north of Bristol. Swansea is isolated, so they are falling there, and that means with the fall of the north, the British divisions are defeated piecemeal here. Ship torpedo launcher, we'll deal with that in a second. Okay, we'll just have to get a new research project going. I think I may need. We'll go through some of the the naval texts here, and I think I'm just checking if there's a single cruiser here, but not much. We've destroyed a smaller raiding group here, but the Royal Navy is done for. England is falling very rapidly, and there's not an awful lot that they're going to do. Just quick look at the front lines. Eastern Front looks solid, no breakthroughs, and positions near Grozny are solid as well. We'll get back to these theaters. Once we have dealt with England, and I think we have some long range tactical bomber wings. Yes, they can move north as well. Let's move them to a northern airport just to shorten the time that they have to fly. Destruction of the remaining British positions here, and we might be able to overtake the enemy, and we'll already push north here. Never mind, they've been encircled. Tanks are pushing north. Armored divisions have managed to clear the grounds near Liverpool. Push on Sheffield with support from the infantry. And while all of this is going on, we get a new agenda. Production cost. Yes, that's good. So let's see what we're voting for afterwards. We could get a civilian factory, a military factory, a building slot, consumer goods, or construction speed. I think arms industry would be a good idea to get a free military factory. Let's put our weight behind that. All right, tanks moving north. Nottingham is about to fall, and we are assaulting Sheffield from three directions. The rest of the tanks is actually now starting to catch up. The majority of the tank forces is pushing towards the capital of Liverpool, which again appears to have been abandoned by the British. They have just been overrun by the speed there. Liverpool has fallen, which means they have moved their capital. Not entirely certain. The government still seems to be on the run. So let's consolidate the lines here near Manchester. And then we are going to secure the east as well. And I think at this point we can bring some of the marine divisions north, just in case there are any river crossings that are required. But most of the marines, after the initial job has been done, have been taking a little rest in the British countryside, as they rightfully should. Yes, I realize there are a lot of things to do. I just don't want to break the flow here, because we are absolutely rolling over the British at this point. So Manchester is about to fall. Feeble counterattacks here from the British for very weak infantry divisions under complete control of the skies by the Luftwaffe. And we'll use the momentum, push north into the hills north of Manchester, take Leeds, and we have secured the lines. The Marines are taking the counterattack, and they can. This is a crossing of a river, but the tanks are powerful enough to force the exhausted British divisions out of the bridges. And we are cutting across the country in the north towards Newcastle. We're isolating any kind of oppositions in the east, and I think at this point it's just the speed that we can bring to bear here that is going to do the British in. There is a British tank division in Hull, so we will hold everyone else, and we will push the British back towards that position, and we will see if we can encircle them there and actually get the 1st and 2nd Panzer divisions counterattack from the enemy infantry. The 54th East Anglian Tank Division is holding the port, so 1st and 2nd Panzer attack, and we will see how that ends up going. The guns are relatively powerful, so but their armor is very much lacking. So I think they are not going to stand much of a chance against the tank assault. We'll send in another. Never mind, we don't need another Panzer division. All right. England has fallen, and that just leaves Scotland. The British government has retreated to Glasgow, and it looks like some British forces are trying to move across, either British or Dutch forces trying to move across the sea here. But most of England has completely fallen after the initial landing, or most of Britain has already fallen after the initial landing. So let's take a moment to take a breath and have a look at all these administrative things that have been piling up. Right. So with the war against syndicalism is pretty much over by Christmas. At least the European branch of it. There's still India. Let's take a look at what is free here. We have Germania Werft. We have Germania Werft available. We've gone down long-range raiding, I think. And we've already taken this, and not this yet. It really is difficult to discern which one has been taken, which one hasn't. But I think this is the only one we can take at this point. So this is surface visibility and heavy attack for capital ships, but we're not using Blumenfoss for them, so there's no need to upgrade that. Sorry, Germania Werft, not Blumenfoss. We have free dockyards and we have free military factories. Free military factories, and we do need to fix our trade. Free military factories means we can improve. We've got a good number of the landing tractors. How far is the... still 60 days for the amphibious drive. Where were we short recently? I think we were short somewhere with Flammpanzer. So let's put another factory on the Flammpanzer. We've got 9 factories available. That's significant. So I think just to modernize our tanks, we'll bring 20 factories on Sturmpanzerkampfwagen 4. We'll probably bring 10 on the Waffenträger just to modernize everything here, and we can bring 5 on the Flammpanzer should be enough, and we do have enough of the Flakpanzer at this point that we don't need to do much here. We do have a couple of Bf-110s available. We've got a couple of older planes now starting to lay around, but the Junkers heavy fighters, most of them, yeah, let's convert into these. We've got a couple of Focke-Wulfs that we can convert, and that should take care of the trade necessities for now. So that's all good. We do, however, probably need, no, we've got enough of everything. So I think we can reduce trade significantly, because we have a large number of aluminium available, and due to the fact that we probably control new land as well. Now we do have some dockyards free, so let's see what's the naval production looking like at the moment. I think, and we had better torpedoes, so maybe it's a good time to upgrade our destroyers. Let's have a look, and potentially cruisers as well. So we could get a couple more light cruisers going. I have 75 Navy experience, so getting a new light cruiser might not be a terrible idea, because we do have a new cruiser hull. Let's have a look at the cruisers currently. We have the Rhein class, and the Strasbourg, the München class is an older one. So the Rhein class currently is our fleet cruiser. It does not have any torpedoes though. So I think getting a new design on the advanced cruiser hull is not a terrible idea. Let's see what that would look like, and if we have enough Navy experience to make that happen. Yes, we also need the heavy ships, but given that we are no longer looking at long-range raids, but more looking at line battles, we have a good number of heavy ships, but we're short on screens. So having more light cruisers, having modern light cruisers is probably not terrible. Improved light battery, that is going to be the 127 mil. We do need the improved the 170 millimeter SKL 45 would be good, but we're nowhere near researching that yet. So right now it's just a matter of getting that outfitted. All right, better engines. 30 knots-ish should be enough for a fleet cruiser, so we don't have to be too concerned about that. Secondaries, definitely radar, and because that improves the hit chances, obviously, for radar-guided fire direction, and fire controls, anti-air, and then light cruiser batteries. But I do want to have a torpedo launcher on these things. So another light cruiser battery, and one here and one here. So if we compare that to the Rhein class, we obviously do have to find that in here. Where is it? There it is. All right. So overall light attack still better on the Rhein, which is due to the fact that it has one more battery. We have one more slot here, but we do have torpedo attacks. So I think overall more hit points, more hit points, more speed actually than the Rhein class. So we could put another cruiser battery here, which would give us the improved firepower plus the torpedo attack, better armor, and better AA all in all. Not the biggest AA cruisers these are pure screens, so not the most AA. We will be facing. I don't have the dual purpose ones yet. Yeah, we'll deal with this first, and we are going to stick with rivers here. So let's see who we have. That is going to be the Maas. Let's go with Maas. So that is going to be the Maas class of cruisers. 58, that sounds good. And we have Wilhelmshavenwerft. That I think was not the... Is that what we wanted? Attack, heavy, light attack, light battery hit chance. Alternatively, from the Germania Werft, we would get range, visibility, torpedo attack. No, I think the Wilhelmshavenwerft is actually a good choice here. So Wilhelmshavenwerft, yeah. All right, 58 for the Maas class of cruisers, and let's do that and get them constructed. So Wilhelmshaven Werft, and we will put all that in. We only have two naval dockyards at this stage, but I think there's still a refit going. So I'm going to schedule a pair of them again. Actually, not on the Wilhelmshaven Werft. I'm going to schedule a pair of these, which means we probably want to drop another one of the Zanders. So let's see, how many are we still having here? We still finish up the Strasbourg as well. She is going to be done in January, so that can fall in. And I think, how are we on the... We still have to replenish the Geleitgruppen, but I think we are starting to get there. We've got a couple of submarines now. And this one should be, yeah, they're being reinforced. So I think overall we can drop either one of the Zanders or one of the submarine production lines. How many production lines do we have on submarines at this point? We only have one on submarines, so the Type 9A is fine. I think we'll drop one of the Zander lines here, and then that's done. Okay, naval battles. What are we facing? Just some submarines, nothing spectacular in the Atlantic. Just a couple of convoy battles, but not an awful lot going on. We have lost our own convoy, 2 enemy submarines in the Caribbean Sea. So yes, we do need to once again set these sea zones to avoid. And that means we can get back to fighting in England, I think. Any decisions available? Just victory over England, where we shot down enemy ace pilot. But I think other than that, we have 100 political power, so could use that potentially for any kind of propaganda efforts. We did. How's our war support from? It's already going up anyway, so we could run the bolster spirits, but I think we don't need to right now. We've still got like sword heroism running, so I'll save that for now, and we will be awarding medals, I think, after this is all done. So let's get back to the fighting in England. With German tanks rolling across the plains, but now we are starting to get into mountainous territory, so we do have to be a little bit more careful. We do have to bypass the British and make our way through the highlands towards Glasgow, and their defense might be a bit more effective there in that regard. So let's push them out of the foothills for starters, and then wait for the rest of the divisions to arrive. And I'm actually going to get the whole Second Army now along a line here, and give them an offensive order to take the rest of Britain. Plus we can get the 8 Marine divisions, who are technically not that much needed here, but we'll use them while they're here to reinforce infantry reinforcements. And we will see if they can. This is not their territory, but we'll see if they can. They will probably have to launch. Actually, they might have to launch a invasion of Douglas. But then again, the Union of Britain decided that in the face of German tanks moving up to the highlands, it wasn't worth doing a famous last stand anymore. The Union of Britain has capitulated. William III has announced that the cowardly British nation could no longer withstand the pressure from the overwhelming presence of German forces throughout the country. The British government chose to flee the country and has gone into exile. Their main forces have capitulated, and the German Empire is now in control of their home area. Though this war against what remains of the Third International continues elsewhere, it is a great victory for all of the Reichspakt. Indeed, the British have capitulated rather easily, to be honest. They had still some fight left in them, I believe. There are some remaining outposts, apparently jointly owned by. We are obviously controlling this, despite the fact that it's not in our color. But yeah, that is the end of syndicalism in Europe. The German Empire now controls the British Isles. which means we can probably leave that to the Dutch to garrison this, to be honest. Let's see. 7th Army, how many, he needs 35 divisions, and he only has 36. Well, that's fine. In that case, let's see if the Dutch, let's see if the Belgians have any more divisions that we can request from them. Request forces. Yeah, 13 more divisions. Flanders, Wallonia. Get them under control, please. And we will hand them over. We will hand them over to list for a garrisoning of Britain. Let's see how many divisions he would need if he was going to garrison the British ports. There, oh, just across the land. It is configured to just be ports, so it's obviously not going to be a huge amount. There, that includes the northern parts. Union of Iceland actually still is a syndicalist outpost that we may have to deal with. So for now, he would need 48, and he's got 49. Perfect. So these divisions are ready. All right. There are some British divisions left here. They might have hidden out. So what we do is I'm going to get 4 infantry divisions, 4 marine divisions to plan a naval invasion. Let's see if we can take down these British divisions there, and the rest of them can be relocated. So what is the next strategic target then? I would say. How's Sweden doing? Sweden is kind of mucking about, I'd say. They have lost some territory in the north, and that will leave to them. So the next big lines are going to be the Grozny sector, where we have made some gains. But I think now it's the time to send the rest of the marine divisions already to Ukraine. So no rest for them. It is time for them to move to new front lines and to begin a counterattack finally against the Russians. And I think I'll get the second half of the marine divisions to begin assaults near Zaporizhia, and the other ones will launch a naval invasion from Odessa into Crimea. For that, we might have to dispatch some naval assets to clear the Black Sea. And we're obviously still fighting in the east against the Japanese. So, however, this is the end of the Western Front in Europe. So that means we've got the Second Army, and we have enough. I think we have enough army experience to design a fast support division. Because right now we're using the motorized division, which can hold a line, but they can't really easily do any kind of fighting to exploit. Do we still have? If we're looking at Guderian's tank divisions, we still have 2 divisions that need to be converted, and we have enough mechanized equipment to make that happen. All right. But I would like to have a support division that is capable of running along with the tanks and bring a bit of firepower to bear. So let's create that. And I am thinking this is going to be a mechanized division. So obviously we'll get a different insignia there. And that is going to have mechanized infantry. So let's see. We're going to start out with something like nine battalions of mechanized infantry is what I'm thinking. And then they will bring self-propelled artillery. and self-protect anti-air, maybe. And then they can have engineers, field hospitals, we don't want to lose them. Flame tanks, definitely. We've got motorized recon, and that leaves us with... actually, we only have enough to do that. So, what is that? Obviously, we want to... let's see... Yeah, that is going to be the best match, I think. Yeah. Okay. So a mechanized division. And that is going to be called, obviously, a Panzergrenadier Division. Is that the template that we, with the dash? Yes. So Panzergrenadier Division. Save that. And they require how much equipment? 360. How much do we have in stockpile? Mechanized equipment. We are going to need a lot more of the mechanized equipment. 307. So we might actually instead put more. How many? We've got 30. Okay, we're still ramping up the production efficiency here, however. So I think we are going to be all right, but we are short on rubber, so we do need to up the trade here. There we go. And we can start, and I think at this point, someone who has been forgotten, almost forgotten since the early days, is Eberhard von Mackensen, who has been in Sweden for a long time, securing against incursions from the Baltics with his veritable cavalry division. And they will be, these will be, so all of these will be converted into Panzergrenadier Division. That it needs more mechanized equipment that we don't have yet, and more self-propelled artillery, which we don't have yet, but we'll get there. So they will be equipped as time goes, and I think now it is time for some medals. Let's have a look, I think, among the Panzers here from von Kluge, and see if they can receive some medals here. 6th Panzer has occupation of Liverpool. They already have the Knight's Cross with oak leaves. So I think the Knight's Cross with swords and diamonds it is. Okay, we've got the 1st Panzer, which already has the swords and diamonds. So that's for breakthrough. So they can take... these are still actually old medals that are pending here still. They can get the Knight's Cross with oak leaves as well. And we've got the 2nd Panzer, which has no commendations at all. So for their action in Britain, they shall be receiving the Knight's Cross with oak leaves, and they shall be receiving the Knight's Cross with swords and diamonds for courageous conduct in the face of the enemy. The Marine divisions as well, obviously the 201st Infantry occupation of London, they will get the Knight's Cross with swords and diamonds, and that's medals all over. We do have free military factories, so I am going to ramp up the production of mechanized infantry once again, and that's actually, I think, once the advanced light tank is finished, yeah, we can start researching the Sonderkraftfahrzeug 251. I think we can make some adjustments to the equipment. Yes, we can spend some XP, and we can actually upgrade with traits as well here. But we'll do that once we have the improved version of that. Yeah, we have the French cipher, which doesn't help us anymore because the French have capitulated, but we are working on the Russian cipher at this point, and I think we can improve that a little bit. Let's boost that, because we are going to launch further assaults in the east once everyone is ready. I'm not sure I'm going to get the Marines in time ready for the river crossing operations, but it's fine. We'll deploy them there anyway. So let's see. We've got the Marine Infantry divisions, and they are currently just moving around in England. So you are going to get an attack position, and I think south of Zaporizhia is going to be a good position. How's our supply? Yeah, Sechslav supply hub should be able to hold this. So we are going to give them a front line where they can plan the offensive towards the Black Sea, cut off, what is this, 16 Russian divisions here, and then we'll launch a simultaneous assault from Odessa into Crimea to cut off the south, destroy this Russian position, and then start moving into Russia. That means Guderian is going to get his tanks ready. And I think the Ausbildungsgruppe Guderian at this point, they can still operate until we get Günther von Kluge's second army in position. But we will have to decide where we can best effect a breakthrough. And I think the Vitebsk position is pushing towards Smolensk. I don't think the Russians have fortified these lines, so I don't think they are aware of the danger that they're in. How's the supply in the area? Yeah, that's a problem because we only have supply out of Minsk. So supply for a push here towards Vitebsk is going to be difficult once we bring the second army in, I think. Let's see. Let's see if that is sufficient supply. Let's get the second army in for a push towards the breaking out through the Vitebsk position between the rivers into Smolensk, and from there we can then try to start rolling over the lines once we've taken down the southern flank here and start retaking Ukraine. Marines can enact river crossings, and then the assault divisions can follow, which means that we can also send Modul's Third Army over into Ukraine. And again, supply probably a question here, so I'm gonna hold them a little bit in reserve for now, and that means that they're hopefully not cutting this. We'll have to see what the supply situation is going to be in Ukraine. How's the air war going over Ukraine? We are winning the air war handily. I think the Russians, after initial massive counterattacks and good successes in the air, the Russian experienced pilots have been shot down, and it turns out that while their veterans were a threat, the number of more junior pilots that are in the air right now is not going to cut it. We have taken losses, and the Russians have fought valiantly, but the Russian Air Force at this point is all but destroyed. We'll be pulling the Air Force, the rest of the Air Force east. All the tactical bombers, all the heavy fighters will begin terror bombing of Moscow, and the fighters are going to keep clearing the Ukrainian airspace for the launch of the offensive. And in Japan, while this is all ongoing, and then let's do that as a last action today. In Japan, let's see if we can. These are 13 Japanese divisions, but they are relatively poorly supplied from what we've heard. So let's see if the assault divisions would have a shot at taking on these entrenched Japanese divisions here, given that they are in a relatively poor condition. And we should have a few more reserves. Yeah, there are a few more coming in. Right now we are just sending 3 divisions. So let's send a couple of the regular infantry in as well. And the other assault divisions are still coming along from the line. All right, there we go. And I think we are pushing the Japanese back here. Yes, we are. So that hopefully should clear the supply from the north a bit more. It's still 6 Japanese divisions resisting, but no, we have pushed them back, and that means the 3rd and 2nd Königlich Bayerische, which are still relatively fresh, can attempt to attempt to push on and see if we can use the momentum to isolate them in the south here and push towards Seoul. Because if we can use the momentum against the there is obviously an immediate Japanese counterattack, but if we can use the momentum to push the exhausted Japanese divisions further out, it is a river crossing, however, but the Japanese defenders should not have too much resistance in them at this stage. So no, we've made it. So we are pushing south. That means we might be able to break through and take Seoul of them, which we couldn't connect supply-wise, however. So it would completely remove supply from them. So this is worth an attempt. Let's follow up with regular infantry and see if the Seoul is defended. So they've all fallen back into Seoul. Let's pin the defenders in the east and see if we can manage to after defeating the counterattack from the north. Let's see if we can manage to push into Seoul actually with the against the exhausted Japanese defenders. And yeah, we've got the Japanese on the run. Someone got disappeared again. That happens in Germany. We've got the Japanese on the run, and the Königlich Sächsische infantry is pushing into Seoul, and that'll deprive the Japanese of. There we go. That'll encircle 9 Japanese divisions, and that'll deprive them of all their supply. So we've got 9 Japanese divisions encircled. The 3 Königlich Sächsische and the other 2 are going to defend Seoul at this point and assist with the destruction of the encircled Japanese troops. The lines have been broken. We haven't given them time to recover, and with power from the air, the Japanese positions have been completely overrun. Seoul has fallen, and the Japanese troops are taking horrendous losses. And now, this time, they don't have a port to escape from. So now, I think, with that position taken, the Japanese have lost 100,000 troop men after the raid and rapid intrusion into Seoul. And that goes to show that even in this age of tanks, the heavy infantry, like the 3rd Königlich Sächsische, which is going to get a commendation for that, and they shall be getting the Knight's Cross with Swords and Diamonds for that as well. These divisions still hold power against regular infantry, like we are fighting currently in Korea. So liberation of Korea is ongoing, and then once that's achieved, we'll leave that to the Chinese, and then it is time to start focusing on the Moscow Accord, where we will intensify our attacks. And then lastly, it'll be the time of the Americans, because we have not forgotten the Central American Confederation and their overtaking of Costa Rica and the syndicalist terror that the poor citizens are subjected to. But that will be a job for the Kaiserliche Marine, which is being reconstituted as we speak, and we are starting to have a relatively reasonable number of lightships again, but we're still very, very short on destroyers for the 2nd battle group. So we are going to need both battle groups at full strength if we are to take on the Americans in the Western Atlantic. But all of that to come in the next episode. That's it for me today. Thanks, everybody. See you next time. Bye-bye.